Hey everybody, welcome back to Kingdoms Reborn. I did a little bit of pre-planning between episodes, adding in some more pig ranches, adding in a couple more farms, adding in some extra houses. We'll go over those really quick. I'm finding it to be a little bit repetitious. I'm going to get rid of that fertility overlay. I don't know why that came up, but I clicked on a farm. So we've got a farm right here that is slotted for wheat. This will get built this year. This one right here, I did change it to wheat because it wants to default as cannabis as it is within the range of the breeder. That's a nice feature. Before it would just do whatever was first on the list, which I think at the time it used to be medical herbs. So I'm happy to see that change. I did add in this group right here of pig ranches. All of this stuff is blocked out, and then I added the houses up here. With this, we're going to want to add in a library and a tavern up here. I'll go ahead and get those planned, and then we'll start on really the meat and potato of this episode. So let's grab tavern first. Again, just going to go ahead and shut that off for the time being. We'll build it quick-ish, but not right off the bat. And then the library is the last thing that we're going to want for this area for the time being. We might get to the market in this episode. We're probably not going to be building it, but I do want to get maybe another tier 3 luxury depending on how many are needed. Tier 1 luxury depending on how many are needed for the housing, as well as maybe get a tier 2 luxury, but let's get that library done. And that brings us to money. So I got a question about why I'm staying above 2,000 gold. And the answer is the card that is in our main building here, the investment card. Now, for this to work, it's a maximum of 100 gold, but you need 2,000 gold to get that maximum of 100. It's not really valid now since we added in the fort, which gave us a ton of territory income. And that brings me to where I really want to go in this episode. Let's go ahead and get rid of this investment because I want to switch it out with another card. We're going to sell it. As you can see, it instantly dropped down our money. I'm going to go ahead and pause for the time being while we make some changes. The first card I want is the water management card. Now, the reason I want the water management card is farming is becoming one of our most valuable things, and it's going to become even more valuable as we move on and move into bread, as wheat's going to be needed. So let's go ahead and grab that first card. I do want to pick up another card from here just to kind of test out some things, but we're going to pick up water management first. 2,400. It stays 2,400. I'm liking that. The next card that I would like to get is grapes, which is 15,000. As that's 15,000, I'm going to wait for the time being. I, for some reason, thought that that was like 7,000, like the cannabis card was, but the cannabis card now is much more expensive. So as I buy the cards, they must go up in value. That is good to know. So we're going to hold out on that until I have a whole lot more money. Adding in the water management, that will add in just an 8% to all the farms. Pretty valuable when a lot of our food is coming from farms. If we take a look, last year's production was 4,300. If we look at pork, it's 2,400. It means that more than half of, well, about half of our food is coming from farms, half of our food is coming from pork. So we're at that equilibrium. And speaking of that, this farm right here at the end of year 29, we're going to get rid of that farm and just have it down with the others. I'm not sure about this farm yet. I want it to move, but not quite yet. And that brings us to forts. So if we take a look at the province overlay, we can see that only this one territory is protected, which means that we need to protect the rest of our territories as we only have 6 of 13. So let's do a little copy paste. We'll get a fort right here, cost us 1,000, but at least it gets us a little bit more protection. We'll throw one next to our job priorities there, gets us closer to where we're supposed to be, and then we can get rid of this one as it still should be protected as it's between those. Now, this led me to thinking, is there something we can do with the forts to bump our income up a lot? So this territory right here is the edge of where we're going to be on our unfortified. So let's grab this one. This would be a fort territory. We'll throw it down by these rocks, and this would give us the ability to fortify this territory, and then we might as well pick up these two as well. We might throw a fort over here, or it will fortify, maybe because it's at the end of a train. That would be nice. We'll see how that affects our income in a minute. Brings us up to 468. We still have a little bit of money. Let's grab that passion book, and I think we're going to try to push for 80 happiness in this episode. And if we do, we're going to make a hard switch from productivity over to motivation. So we're going to keep pushing passion books, and then we're going to pick up motivation instead of a productivity. activity. Let's take a look up this way. This right here, we'd need a fort right there. I want to start on this side over here. Let's do this one right here, which would get this area fortified, and this area. We'll pick up this one. Don't want the iron mine. We'll do that later. Let's get this one. This would be part of that group. This would be part of that group. And we'll go ahead and drop a fort right there. See what this brings us up to. So, I mean, we were at 2 something without the investment card. We're already up to 500 and another fort. Going to spend a lot of money on forts doing this, but I think it's well worth it once this gets fortified. Let's see what it brings us. Almost up to 600. I'm thinking that this is a little broken, especially if we can expand out our territory all the way to the max and just put those forts, even if we don't have the population to support it. Let's grab this one. This one. It looks like if we pick up this fort here, we'd get the fortification here also. So we'll just pick up those, and that is fortified. Again, it might be because it's kind of a stretch over water. Interesting that that's fortified without a fort. Let's pick up this one. That's fortified, probably because it's within our territory, and it might have something to do with these blue lines in the representation that maybe troops can't go over there. I don't know, but at least that's fortified, and let's see what it brings our money up to. So it takes us up to 680. Like to maybe get one more set of areas, maybe this one right here, but it looks like we're going to need a little bit of money to make that happen. I could pick up this one, pick up that one. This might be kind of a stretch and don't have enough money for that. So we're going to have to let money recover, and then we'll pick up a fort here, pick up these 2 territories, and then we should be off to the races, maybe up around 800 gold. And that's pretty good considering that we've been struggling for money the entire playthrough. Our tulips are in bad shape. Let's go ahead and speed up time and let time kind of play out. Let's get rid of the province overlay. We don't need that anymore. And we'll do some adjusting to the trade system. Meat, I think, is in good shape. Originally, I thought I'd let this go higher, but maybe we bring this back down to 2,000. Medical herbs, I think, is in a good spot. Tulips, I would like to get about 200 of those. We'll take this up above medical herbs. So 200, we'll take this, not that. We want this one right here. We'll take that up to the top. We want that to be the one that sells first. Cannabis, if it's as good as the tulips, we're going to want to sell those. Let's go ahead and add those in, and we'll do the same. We'll just send it right to the top. We'll set it down to 200, sell up to 100 at a time. Wood's becoming pretty big. I played for about a year and I let them burn wood just to see how much they would burn, and they burned the entire 4,000. And not only did they burn that, but they stopped doing every other job while they were hauling the wood. Within a year, they died. Was a test worth seeing, but at the same time, it really surprised me. We'll go ahead and add wood to our export list, and we'll move that above medical. So I don't want it quite above the other resources, and then we'll set a limit at 2,000 for that. We'll get all that sold off, and that will be on our next trade list. Get us a little bit of money, get us back up there. Stones is in a good shape. I do want to add bricks to the list here. We're just going to bring in probably roughly about 100 bricks. We're going to bring it in 20 at a time like we are the stone. So let's go ahead and add that. And then the last thing I want to add to the list in here would be iron, and the iron is going to be when we get to some of the buildings it's going to require it. I don't want to use the quick build for building those because I think the quick build is a little bit more expensive now, but we'll go ahead and bring in 100 of those. Again, just 20 at a time. I don't want to bring so much that I'm making it so that we lose a lot of money, and it looks like we could potentially, as we're not bringing in anything right now, we could potentially add in one more trader. So we'll add that. Yeah, we'll add it right now. Let's go ahead and copy this. We'll add it right there. We could, yeah, they can build it, so I would be happy with that. And then we want to start on quick build. Yeah, that's good. So we just finished the swordman, and as we lost some money the last time from a little bit of thievery, let's go ahead and buy a couple of swordsmen, and we have the option for 3 units. So I think at the end of the last episode we only had the ability to have 2, so we'll just get those built. We'll get them all in place, and we'll pick up our yearly cards. Let's go ahead and grab the immigrants. We'll grab the steel, and we can see that our money went up and our science went up. Not sure why our science went up, but that now gives us the ability to raise minor cities, and it also gives us the ability to remove forts by the looks of it. That's something new to the game. I'm happy that they're making advancements like that. These immigrants, absolutely. We will take a sustainability book for the next trader. That will be super helpful, so we'll go ahead and add that. Bring it down a little bit. I'm not sure. Oh, these require the Enlightened Age in order to upgrade, so we're good there. Now Now, the swordsman, we're going to go ahead and throw them up there. The archer, we're going to throw them up there. I wish that if I threw the steel card up there in the future, it would keep the steel cards up there, but for some reason it doesn't. Looks like laborers are starting to work on this, but I do want them to work a little bit faster. We'll go ahead and open that one up, and immediately people move in there. And taking a look, we are on the edge of where we would want to be for laborers. So let's take a look at our job priority. Looks like the fishing lodge is not currently employed. So as that farmer fills in, we would lose that. So let's pick up an immigrant. And our housing is in an interesting situation. We're level 3 houses. So we must have had some upgrades, and we have kids because of it. I don't want a big population boom because we have extra room. So I'm going to go ahead and delete out some of the houses to try to curve that, because this is way too many kids. We might get a starve off because of that. I was hoping we would have a house somewhere in here. This is going to go away, but we need 4 people for this. We need a person for this. We need 2 people for that. I could probably go down to just having 1 house there. So we go ahead and do that. I'm going to replace these with houses over time, but I want to keep somewhere in that neighborhood. I probably want to keep a little bit closer to 70, but we'll hold for the time being. And I'm going to hold out on building these until all of this is built. Speaking of that, let's go ahead and use the speed boost to get this going. I probably should have kept a better eye on that, but it means that when the cannabis came in, that immediately our house is upgraded. And since they upgraded, let's take a look and see what it takes for a level 3. It takes 3 type 1. So we do need to get another type 1 going. And as we're looking at wheat, I'm thinking wheat's going to be the way. We'll wait for this year to kind of sort out to see how it pans out, but I think wheat's going to be an overflow. Granted, last year we consumed more food than we produced. That's really scary. We'll do another technology in the farming, just get a little bit more production. And then from there, then we'll look at what to do next. This one for the tulips, I'm going to go ahead and switch this over to wheat just to see if it's a little bit more helpful. Seems like with the tulips, it's not extremely helpful. Maybe they can pull in some of the wheat a little bit quicker. The harvesting of the farms, that really scares me. And just like that, it looks like we are caught up where the food production is above the consumption. Let's get this pig ranch right here built next. This one up here is built and it's already productive. So I've been talking for a long time, so we'll throw that passion and productivity book in there. That gives us another level of the farming. We could go for the trade route in order to trade with some of our fellow cities. We could go with the tailor in order to get our first tier 2 luxury. We have enough houses to do that. Yeah, let's do it. Let's go ahead and get tailor next, and then we'll look at where to place it in a minute here. We will need to place some sheep up here would be my guess, but that's something that we can do in just a little bit. We got another warning from our fellow city there, and we already have a road right here. No, we don't. Let's do a road right here to bring this area, kind of block it in, and then we'll start placing beer. I'm gonna grab these yearly cards as they come in, and we'll do beer. So this will be our 3rd tier 1 luxury, and we will be using wheat now that we have a little bit of wheat in the bank there. So we'll go right there. I'm gonna go ahead and build 2 of them kind of cheap, so I'm gonna go ahead and quick build them both. Too far from storage, so we will need a storage of some sort here. Do want to work towards that warehouse to make sure that we're getting that. Let's do a storage. Let's do another storage depot right next door. We'll quick build this, and this one will be for beer. So let's go ahead and do that. Let's go ahead and do beer, and hopefully that does, yeah, it takes it right off the list, and then we'll add a hauler to that. Speaking of that, you can see that the haulers are not currently there, but they are on the beer. I do want the haulers above some of the other things, so I'm going to go ahead and move them around in the global job priorities. We'll grab those immigrants because apparently they're needed. We'll grab the passion book. Yes, please. And they're smiling. Of course they're smiling. We're starting to get happy in our town here, and we want to push that even higher yet. Let's move the forester all the way to the bottom. Let's move the hunter all the way to the bottom. And then the storage depot, we will move just above beer. I think that's a good spot for it. Now with the happiness, if we take a look, our housing is at 85, and we talked about shrubs in the last episode. So let's take a look at technology, and then we'll look at shrubs. We'll do market to get to warehouse. We'll go down here, and I'll do a lot of this off camera, but if we look at this, we can see the housing appeal is 73. That's how the housing appeal in here is done. So it means that some houses are higher, some are lower. We grab the shrubbery. It would take a little bit of work to go all the way across here. And if I had to guess, since it's, I think 100 a piece, this is going to be a little bit expensive, probably 6, 12, 2,400 to do do one block like that, but it moves the appeal to 98. So if we watch this, we should watch the housing pretty much shoot up, and for every 6% it shoots up, it's going to increase our global happiness by 1. So we should see maybe it go a little bit higher than, yeah, we just went to 75 by increasing our happiness of those couple houses. And we have our first level 4 house. So beer must be up and going. Let's get fast malting, and holding shift, it will do it to all of them. And then as long as we have the wood, we might as well do the improved malting. And since we have the bricks, we'll upgrade it to the middle age for another 8%. So it brings it to where 7 wheat is producing 9 beer. We could do a little bit of a sustainability and then maybe a passion and see what that does. So we've got all the spam from upgrading both of them. So we'll do 1 sustainability, brings it down to 4 beer for 4 wheat for 9 beer, or a passion in there, 4 for 10. Pretty good. I don't really care for doing sustainability, and at some point in time, it won't really be worth having the sustainability. It will be more worth having a motivation in there. But as long as we're struggling on food, which we are, I'm going to go ahead and use the sustainability just to kind of keep things up and going. Let's throw that passion in there. Made our trap. Let's get the beer town, since it will give us an extra 10% since we have 2, and we'll do the same over here. Brings us to 11. Super solid. And then we'll start working on the warehouse. I think we want deep sea fishing next, as we're getting close to this water over here. Don't want the market, not ready for it, and we want to maybe build one of these houses with this pig ranch. So let's go ahead and get this one building also. Tavern is next. Want to push that. And speaking of that, our money's back in decent shape. Let's go ahead and get the area over here sorted out. So I was thinking, let's get off that screen. We'll pick up this one. We'll pick up this one. Let's bring back up the province overlay, and this right here would be the way. So we'll grab a fort up here. So 720 is where we're at right now. Let's grab that fort. I was thinking it was lower on the list, and that brings us up to 790. Like to push this a little further, maybe pick up this territory up here. Let's see what our money looks like, as we just spent a little bit. So if you picked up this one right here, again, we picked up a little bit of money, but it wasn't fortified, so it didn't affect it too much. This one would be the territory that's going to be the spreading territory. So we'll pick up the yearly card as I do a little bit more purchasing here. We'll purchase right down to about 1,000, since that's what the fort cost. Can't pick up that one. I can pick up this one, and I can pick up this one. And I think the property line is right there. We'll try to butt it right up against the mountain. I like being up against the mountain because I don't like building that close. Brings us to 920, 950. That's amazing. I'd like to push that a little higher, but I'm liking where that's going. Let's pick up these immigrants. We'll pick up this motivation book as we're closer to 76. We just want to keep pushing it. No, we'll pick up the passion book. I see motivation more than I see productivity. So let's get rid of the province overlay, and we'll bring back the trees. Now I'm going to go ahead and do like a quick cut where I put in all the shrubs, and I'll bring you guys right back. And all the further I got with shrubs is adding these 2 housing blocks, as it's 2,400 a piece. So I spent roughly 5,000 on just that groups of shrubs. This year, I want to get rid of this cabbage. Our people are in good shape. We have some extra labor standing around, so I do want to use them. Let's go ahead and get deep sea fishing. This will get us ready for another food source. Again, just want to keep pushing that happiness. We're now up to 77, 76%. Super solid with that. Deep sea fishing will only add to it, and hopefully we have tuna nearby. I want to go ahead and let one more house build. No, we'll wait just a little bit on the next house, but I do want to start planning out the sheep so that we can start getting into the next luxury. So let's go ahead and do that real quick. Again, just going to pause them as I build them one at a time so that we're not overloading our population. We'll do this way. We'll keep it in the exact same pattern that we had the other one. We'll leave the same gap, something like this. We'll add this one up here. This takes a lot more stone than the pigs, so this will consume a little bit more money to get it built as we're buying stone. I still want to get to a quarry, but at the same time I want to get to a quarry, I want to make sure that food is in a good shape so that if we had a quarry, we're not pulling away from the farms and things, and that during the winter we're not having people go to work at the quarry trying to get back to their farms in the spring. Let's get these roads in. Let's get the granary in, and let me go ahead and pause all of these. Ooh, these take 4 people to build versus I think it's 2 people for the pig ranch to build. That's a lot more people to build. I'm happy that I've got the labor set to 3 people, the builders that is, set to 4 people instead of having a bunch of people just rush over and start building those. Let's get this road, and I think it's this road right here, and we just want to go ahead and copy the granary up here. Now I was thinking that we wanted to do something with windmills since we have so many farms. And that might be the next episode, as we're kind of getting close to wrapping up this episode. Not quite, but we're getting there. I don't think we have time to fit in putting windmills down, upgrading all the farms, and getting into bread. I don't think that bread's going to be efficient until we get to the Enlightened Age, maybe even the Industrial Age. I don't know what it looks like in this build. And speaking of that, we still have a considerable amount of wood. Maybe we add in a mushroom just as a way of pushing that food happiness a little bit higher. We could put a tree farm in this area in the future. Let's do it. Let's add a mushroom farm right there. We'll go ahead and pick up our yearly cards since they just popped. We'll want the immigrants because it looks like we went down a little bit. Look at this. We only have 66 people. We had 34 people die from old age. So our population went down 32. We only had 2 bears, but yet we're still holding on a population of about 65. Let's take a look just to see how that plays out with workers and everything. It looks like everybody's filled into jobs. If we look at the job priorities, the storage depots, the beer brewers, and the forester are not currently employed. So we're going to have to bring in some people. Thankfully, the farms did stay employed. And since it's the middle of spring, let's get rid of this one. That will give us one more worker for something else, and we'll pop one of these immigration cards. We'll get immigrants as soon as we hit late spring. We'll take them. We will take that passion book, and let's start filling in some of these. So just productivity passion. We'll do... Ooh, we're running out of cards. I don't want to buy cards. I just want to keep filling in. 2 passion are perfectly fine, and our money is caught up. I could expand out more territory to keep our money going up. Maybe I'll do that. Maybe I'll let our money go back up to about 20k, and then I'll do some more expanding. I'll probably do some of that off the camera now, just because that's only going to be so exciting so many times before it's kind of like, all right, enough is enough. Let's grab a point in ranching technology, just get this a little bit better. Let's do farming first. Oh, that's already maxed out. Okay, requires the Enlightened Age. Let's do ranching technology, empire building. Yeah, let's do ranching technology. And deep sea fishing. We'll absolutely take that, but I'm going to go ahead and use one of my wild cards for it, and it reveals tuna on the map. So if we zoom out, we now have tuna. So we probably want to be somewhere up here to get tuna. I'm not sure how effective it is, like if we were to put a deep sea somewhere in this neighborhood. And this housing group right here, I guess we might be able to put one right there. Let's see if we can build it and what it takes to build. Requires iron, which we already started getting because we need it for the tailor. Speaking of the tailor, we probably want to start getting a tailor. We could go right there. Let's let it build. Let's see how productive it is. We might need a storage nearby. I guess the granary's right there. We might put a granary a little bit closer to that to get the mushroom and the deep sea kind of sorted out. And where are my workers? Oh, they're over here working on the sheep ranch. That's taken a considerable amount of time to build. Let's speed boost that. Ooh, yeah. Once this is built, I'm going to let them build the mushroom and the deep sea. That will get them a little bit closer to their home. I think this is a good spot to go ahead and call this episode maybe a little bit shorter. I had kind of an interesting day with my little human stand home. Try to get this one edited out, maybe get a second episode later today, and then we'll bring you back with the next episode, getting into the tailor in maybe another tier 2 luxury and possibly pushing our population up to, say, 100 people. Thank you for joining. We'll see you in the next one.